again, Rail
Hey, Candy.
Community.
Hi,
We have
Zoe.
Mike, Yamashita, and Zoe Winters here with us again, and it's so great to have you back. We
You?
just had you here on Sunday doing a fireside chat and telling us about your collaboration and the projects that you're working on together with, combining Mike's photography and Zoe's AI and editing and animation skills and kind of having this, My Earth Collection NFT launch. Tell us how that's been going because now that we're a couple days in, and I'll pull it up on the screen, but what has the journey looked like so far for your first big launch in the space?
Well, it's very exciting and maybe nerve-wracking because I'm on so many talk shows. Yeah, it seems like other than Clubhouse, I've had a very long session last night on Instagram Live. Speaking, I assume, I don't know who's out there, but speaking mostly, I would think, to my regular Instagram followers and explaining again to them this transition into NFTs. And so, we've been speaking to a lot of people and hoping that the messages are getting across and leading up to this auction, which is happening now, and waiting with anticipation to see where it all goes. Since this is the first, I was told to understand that most of the bidding actually happens as it gets towards the end of the period. I think we have about 8 or 10 hours left. So yeah, we're just as the first. I'm not quite sure what to expect, and so we're just waiting to see how it all works out. And yeah, so that's been about it since Sunday. Well, you can take it back weeks before then because I've been working along with Zoe pretty flat out on this for the last 4 months. So putting together not just the NFTs, but understanding how it all works, and then meeting people from the NFT community and talking to a lot of people, and of course looking at a lot of NFTs. So yeah, it's all about to happen, and yeah, just waiting to see how it all turns out.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and add to that. So leading up to this has been such an amazing experience. We've been, networking with a lot of people in the space, especially learning about how to drive forward our mission of environmental awareness and really getting into the concept of carbon credits and how that interacts with an NFT drop, because previously it's thought that the NFTs were bad for the environment. So how can we offset that moving forward? One of our biggest challenges actually has been networking with people who are already established in crypto as collectors, because we're talking about, environmentalists and different people in the traditional art community as well, and educating that traditional community. And maybe it's been harder to interact with the crypto community. So that's something we've been facing, but nevertheless, I think it's going really well, and I'm excited to see the last couple hours how we do.
You guys will have the clubhouse later tonight too, so you'll be able to kind of have that last minute auction hype going with the community and answering any questions people have. And I saw that link on Mike's Twitter, which was pretty exciting to see. I'll have to pop in there later as well. What questions have you been seeing from the community so far? I think that's an interesting thing to think about, as you're getting into the space and kind of navigating how, the NFT scene works and how to make it environmentally friendly. Has that been a common thread that people have been asking about when you're doing the Instagram Live, the Clubhouses, things like that?
Yeah, I think. Well, it's if it's obviously it is a novel thing, and we hope that it inspires everyone to think about the environment, about climate change, and uh, because we should. And if you just, you don't even have to be paying attention to the news to see all these natural disasters that are taking place, fires and floods, and it's it's seemingly coming to a point here, and you just can't avoid, including experiencing it yourself. Here in New Jersey, it's the oddest thing in that actually it's quite cool, and in fact, it was well. You can see I'm wearing a vest here because it's in below 70. This morning it was in the 50s, so it's and there's no cicadas. Whatever happened to that? So anyway, the climate change is real and it's impacting everybody, and so we've been pointing out this message to raise awareness on to all my followers on Instagram, as well as now to the community of NFT community. So that's part of what what I believe in, and therefore what we're doing. But do you mind if I ask you, who have had so much experience on NFT rollouts, what is normal? Is there a norm, or how does it work with how are we doing as opposed to as you've seen so many rollouts? So how do you think we're doing? What is your personal opinion?
I I think that's very interesting. Now we have the people here for the interview asking the questions. That's a fun twist, and I think the first time that's happened during one of these sessions. So kudos to you. I think that there's not really a norm, as interesting as that is, because the NFT space is still so very new. I mean, we've only had NFTs for, a little under 4 years, really, in terms of, the ERC 721s and things that, you know, have been not just a currency type token. So the time frame for this has been so short compared to any other type of art medium drop, as photography is, at this point, a very well established medium, but NFTs are still kind of finding their way,
Mhm.
which makes establishing norms something that I think we'll still kind of see as we continue to go along. But I do think that with what you both are doing, both interacting, in Clubhouse and in Discord, and joining the communities who are established and chatting with them and being able to interact with the people in the space, that goes a long way, because one of the big concerns that a lot of times collectors have is, obviously new people are joining the space. Are they here simply for, to make a quick buck, or are they here because they're really interested in the space, moving the technology forward and kind of helping the greater ecosystem evolve and continue to move forward? And I would say that based on, the number of, different sessions you've been doing both in the metaverse and with your Instagram followers who are not yet part of the metaverse, but people who have followed you for your traditional photography, that's something that is really beneficial because it helps kind of gain a lot of the introductions that perhaps otherwise would not have been reachable currently, because there's a lot of ways to get into cryptos. You had mentioned, Mike, with your family kind of talking you into looking into the crypto space and some of the Bitcoin tokens, and that, for everybody the journey is different, but being able to interact, I think, is really the biggest thing in finding the communities and finding the people who have similar values and interests. So I think that you're both doing really well with that. And the community actually wondered if you had any plans to integrate your works into the metaverse. And so that's a kind of vague question. I think more directly with the the way it's phrased, your drops right now are on Foundation and the NFT Launchpad on Origin. And they are, kind of getting out there. We're getting those carbon credits. But are there plans to say maybe take things like your photography or your animations and turn those into perhaps game assets in some of the other projects? So that's a potential that you'd be able to do. Obviously, looking forward, it's not something that you would have to do right away, but is that an option?
Well, I must say that we've also been inundated with other people NFT artists who want to collaborate, as Zoe and I are doing. And I have no idea yet what that is about, but we haven't answered many of those just because we're working right now on what's on the table. But anyway, the other thing I must say that I've been speaking a lot about is to my photographer colleagues that it would be not in their interest to ignore NFTs, because this is a new media that and it's a visual media that they should be paying attention to, because we're visual artists, and so of course it's a different group, a different look to NFTs, and but there are photographers who are already in the space, and I'm not quite sure how everybody's doing, but of course, you got the sports guys who are putting out their GOAT NFTs, greatest of all time videos or still pictures, and you have CNN just announcing today that they are, they're in the news business, and they are going to be making NFTs from their greatest hits news clips. So, again, everybody's getting into this. It's not going away. And so I've been telling my photographer friends and not missing any opportunity to with my own followers on Instagram to tell them to take a look and get, this is serious stuff. It's here to stay, and people should be looking very seriously about looking at this new medium. So new meaning, well, not so new, it's 40 years already, but yeah, it seems to be news for most photographers since the big announcement. So, yeah. Zoe, you want to say something to that?
I'll add to that question too. Yeah.
I just want to say that Zoe is experienced and is already there, so she can. I'm a newbie, and she has already been there, and she is in there. So yeah, she can tell you from a slightly different perspective.
Yeah. So, like I said, I got into the space about 5 months ago, and right away was selling my illustrations and some 3D models. During this time, I've done 2 collaborations, one including Mike, and then also finished my art and Japanese degree. So I was really, really focusing on the skills like I had told you before. And for my, 3D characters and animations I'm making, I definitely want to incorporate it into the metaverse like a game asset, but kind of like a little living creature avatar or a creature like power-up pet. Because you know how in Neopets, you have like the Neopet and then you have the power animal, like making little power animals for people's avatars. It's something that I've had in mind. And also like the fact that you can put digital art and animations on a frame, like a digital frame for NFTs, and just have that infinite loop. Having that in the physical world and then also in the metaverse as it grows is really interesting to me. I've always really looked up to the whale community and Discord, but also been like intimidated by it. Because, when you're just learning and stepping into it, it is kind of intimidating, and you do want to be innovative. And as things are changing so fast, I think the only way to do that is to be really involved and know what's going on. And so working with Mike and his team and learning about the environment has been so valuable. And still, we're all learning. We're learning from the people that we've interacted with the past couple months a lot more than we had known before. And I think Jack actually wanted to come in and chat with us about, moving photography into that space as well. Maybe we can bring him in.
We can absolutely bring Jack in as well.
There he is.
There he is.
Hey guys, how's it going? I've just been listening backstage here for a few minutes, and I just want to first say that it's been such an honor to work with such amazing artists as Michael and Zoe. They're just fantastic artists and wonderful people, and this is just such a great project. My business partner and I got connected with Mike, because obviously, as you said, his family members are involved in the community. They have been talking to him about it. I've been, an avid blockchain kind of nerd and geek for a while, and we came on to kind of give him some support on the more technical aspects of coming into the space. But since really working with Mike, building the collection, and going to release it, we've been connecting with so many different people, both in the traditional photography space as well as people in the blockchain space that are doing amazing things. I think people are really resonating, with the mission, that we have, and I want to be really clear about kind of what the mission of this project is. It is really to both promote this NFT space, this new burgeoning medium, in a huge way, and also show that through the artists and the power that they can kind of captivate around the world, this can be a really positive thing for the world, for the environment, for different causes. It's already been shown to do that for so many great causes and charities and different things, and Mike, as well as so many of his colleagues in Nat Geo and different photographers are all so passionate, as so many of us are, about the environment, about trying to do whatever we can to halt and to reverse kind of what we've seen around the world. And again, that's not just, this isn't all, this isn't because of NFTs or because of crypto. This is just a global problem. But we think that this is a great medium to be able to give it a wonderful platform to be able to raise funds, to be able to push, that environmental message. And I think the coolest thing for me is hearing from, is one, working with Mike and how he's been such a frontier kind of person, in his industry, to come out and to push this and to be the first of his colleagues who are now, watching this, and they're coming on our IG lives and they're having conversations with Mike behind the scenes about how excited they are for the future of this, and they all want to be in it, and they're watching this kind of drop and what we're doing with with a lot of bated breaths and just kind of wanting it to be super successful. And we've been planning in the background with some amazing organizations like Carbon DAO, which is kind of an up and coming one, to bring what we're doing with carbon credit offsets actually on chain. And so that future transactions, they're all actually, all of the carbon purchases are done at the time of transaction via the smart contract execution. Those carbon credits will be purchased, retired, and we've got some amazing plans for how we're going to bring in some of Mike's colleagues for future collaborations, and we've started having some of those conversations, and I just wanted to kind of really push that message and say that there's a really bright future in the world of photography, and in the world of kind of this being a force for not really changing the entire narrative, which again the NFT and environmental things are very complex issues. It's not something that's black and white, right? About like it's very misunderstood, and about what exactly the carbon footprint is and all of those different pieces, and where the energy is coming from. But we just want to push this medium, so far into the green space, so far into being like a catalyst for, for change in those different spaces, and have some amazing partners that we're going to be doing future collaborations with that we're just super excited about, and just wanted to kind of come in and give you guys a little bit of a, taste of kind of what we've been working on and planning even beyond Mike's first collection, Genesis collection here.
Thank you so much, Jack. That's definitely really exciting to hear, kind of not just from the artists, but also from the people who are helping onboard the artists to the space and kind of introduce the technology to people who have already been innovators in their own spaces. And so having the ability to tie all of those things together and still work toward the causes that are important, fundamentally, that is huge. And so exciting to see the passion that people have for that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
And feel free
so
to kick me off backstage too. I just wanted to come in and say hi to Mike and Zoe, and congratulations both on this collection and drop. It's been just honored to work with you guys.
such an amazing one. And we do have actually some questions from the community, Mike and Zoe.
Okay.
So maybe I will pop you backstage, Jack, and then if you
Sure.
have more questions about the platform and technical stuff, I know that we have both you and Jason available if we need. So that's amazing to have you both here to support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so we will move him back. We'll go back here, check in the community. There we go. So the community wanted to know, first off, I know that you have an Instagram, Mike, where your community is, but a lot of times what we look at in the crypto space is communities that are based largely within Discord. So that's kind of like the home base for a lot of communities. Is there one that you have or plan to create around your work? Is that something that you're looking into moving perhaps outside of Instagram? Or at this time, are you still just kind of bouncing around and finding your way before settling?
Well, I'm, again, every day for me is a learning curve, and Instagram is the one thing I've been dealing with right from the beginning. I think it was back in 2012, so that is kind of like my base, and so that's the one that's easiest for me and there's the similarity, I must say, between what I am seeing with Instagram and the NFT community is this ability to communicate directly, and anything that helps that, I'll be very much into. It was such a big change to have Instagram with instant reactions and instant comments that it's been great to, especially during this pandemic, to have the time to actually read after every comment and comment on the comments, and so that's something I look forward to most every morning, is just reading what people think about your work, or what I try and be timely, and a lot of these Instagrams are geared towards whatever is happening, current events, and now that, with the Olympics, I've been posting a lot about Tokyo and this, and basically putting out pictures and information about a place that I know well. So that's been a joy, and and as I grow with the NFT community, yeah, I look forward to, in the same way, to communicating directly, and in any way to further the conversation and get to know people through. And it's a much smaller community, so get to know people more personally than this vast, whatever it is, 1.9 million people that I would communicate with on Instagram. So, of course, I have the regular followers, and I'm used to communicating with them directly, many of whom have become friends. So, yeah, lots of this is new to me, and that's what Jack and Zoe and Jason are there for, is to have me informed and keep me, yeah, got a lot done in 4 months, but I am still very much in the learning phase. Still, I consider myself to be a newbie.
I'll add to that. From my end, similarly, I started on Instagram. I was doing Instagram and TikTok for a while, but being a digital artist, I've been active in Discord the whole time, but in the art Discord. So like groups from my classes, ZBrush groups, Unity groups, like different kinds of Discords to help each other answer questions or how to use the software better. And then when I got into Clubhouse, I saw my friends who were already established artists had created their own Discords and had their collectors in that Discord and were not only conversating about their drops and different strategies, what was changing in the space, but also all of the other artist drops and all of the other platforms, where to go, where the hype was going. So like Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks, obviously there was a lot of buzz around it, but now like the collectible space, how much it's growing. And I've started to learn in there, but I haven't. My next step as an artist is to become more involved in there, because that's where a lot of the learning is done. But also, like, you make friends who are artists and on the collector side. And I know for Mike's team, they're aiming to start a Discord really centered around environmental impact. And again, his mission of kind of changing that moving forward. So I know that's on the horizon for him for sure. And for me, it's getting more involved in the Discords that aren't just for art, that it's also for different kinds of collections around the internet.
And that definitely is something that, as the whale community, something that we hold very dear, because I think I've explained, in an offline conversation with you, that our community is really largely based on learning. We have people that are part of so many of the different projects that are in the crypto space, as collectors, as the creators, and the artists. And so the amount of knowledge that is able to be obtained from the community and kind of help to further your individual growth as well as the growth of the community as a whole is just such a treasure trove, and something that, having those spaces where it's safe to learn and ask the questions and be able to grow and kind of move forward is really huge. So that's something that I know that our community is really excited about, in a space that we've specifically curated to be that way, with a lot of the inspiration. So that's very good that there will also be other spaces for what you're both building, but definitely come hang out with us as well as we have questions. We're happy to answer them. And I would say we also have another question, kind of a different topic from the community they've submitted during the stream, wanting to know how you reconcile the finite or scarce nature of NFTs with the infinite reproducibility of a photograph's raw files. So like, you have a photo and you can print it as many times, and that's kind of historically been what people have done, and then you put it on Instagram and it's something that I could save it. But with NFTs, like, what to you makes NFTs different, or I think perhaps give it a different value proposition than simply the photograph, even though they start from the same thing?
Well, I think what we've been trying to do is do something different with those photographs. I do have friends who have tried to put up just their photographs, and I don't think they've done that well. And maybe that's why you're not hearing much about them. So I think it takes a different look and a different style. And one thing is I delved into NFTs. Most seem to have some movement and sound, and this is what intrigued me with what Zoe was able to show me using AI tools to animate. And again, it was this idea of taking a still picture and changing it to a point where she was recreating the moment that I actually took the photograph. And when I saw the monks, for example, well, that's the best one to fall on, since that's the main attraction for the auction that's going on now. And yes, that was a photograph that I've made many prints of, but not it's that and more now because of the snow, which is what was happening when I took that photograph, and the fact that these monks were moving around and kind of while they were waiting for the prayer session to begin. They're all some relating to each other, others looking at me. The one kid kind of giving me an evil eye for probably focusing on taking their picture in the first place. And there's a guy in the corner with prayer beads. But anyway, they're all moving, or not all, but we were able to at least half a dozen or more, and give them expression, which was part of what I saw when I photographed it. So indeed, this is what we've been trying to do with the other, all the NFTs so far that I've created. Zoe is to have those two elements of sound and motion to take the viewer right to the moment I click the shutter, and that's very different and something you can do with an NFT. You can't do that with a single photo. So, that's a big difference.
And that's definitely a really good explanation of what makes your NFTs in this case so much different than simply a still photo, is being able to recreate that experience of being there. And we'll bring Jack back in. He had some additional information to share with you. Jack, what have you got for us?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, a couple of things about this collection. I think that are they're really unique. We sat down with Mike at the when we first just kind of started brainstorming. What he wanted this to be, what the vision for him, what he wanted to kind of do. He wanted something that was, that was really true to his work, and paid homage to his career and history, and photographing still pictures and the natural world, as well as something that really was representative of this new medium. And so and it kind of does allow for having kind of the video, the audio components kind of adding in. You can just be a little more creative, and kudos to Mike for for being so open to kind of welcoming the how this is changing kind of art in a lot of ways, from simply being a physical still hanging on a wall to something that can bring you into a deeper experience, which is why with all the pieces, it was all about preserving the beauty and kind of the raw emotion that was evoked from his still photographs, as well as exploring kind of this new creative, basically all the options that are open to you kind of in the NFT space. And with this collection, not only do you get the NFT that you see here that we're showing, each different piece is paired with the original photograph that inspired the digital work, and is linked to that using a very proprietary technology from one of our technology partners called Lava ID, and they basically have a very secure QR code, and so you can now have not only hang this in your home, in your metaverse with the moving image, but you can hang this in your physical home, and using the Lava tag, basically like you would a QR code, by pulling up your camera, then access the NFT directly. Not only the NFT, but the story behind the photo, in Mike's own words. Him kind of describing it, the story behind the collection, where the photographs were taken, and a bunch of additional content that really takes you deeper into Mike's world, into his process. That's really, really special, and only available, you know, and accessible if you're kind of if you can scan that code. So that's something that we're, you know, really excited about, is kind of, you know, bridging this the gaps between the traditional photography and art space into this new burgeoning and amazing medium of NFTs.
It definitely is an amazing medium. So the community, as you were explaining this, Jack, actually wanted to know, and maybe more geared toward Mike and Zoe, although Jack, I think, is somebody who kind of leads a platform for minting NFTs. This is also relevant as you're recruiting people to the space. But what difficulty do you have explaining your projects to other artists who don't yet understand NFTs? Like, how have you found success in getting people to understand why it makes sense to make NFTs and kind of move in this direction with your art?
I can give an example of one of the challenges from, you know, an artist so I'm a digital artist. I'm in the software, learn those techniques, gaining those skills. The hardest part for me has been understanding the blockchain, understanding the technology behind how that works. Been talking to Jack and Jason a lot about, you know, what are the carbon credits? How does that translate from this sale into helping the environment? And they so eloquently describe, you know, behind the scenes what they're doing for that mission, but then also how the tiered auction works also, you know, the actual fundamental business part behind the NFT minting process, the sale process versus the technique behind the digital art. I think that's been the most exciting and difficult part for me to learn, for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to say that you know, I'm in the business of taking real pictures, real people, real places without doctoring, and so to take that and make it in a kind of an enhanced reality, which is what I see my NFT as enhanced reality, and to put people back to the point when I actually took the picture. That's been kind of the theme of this, the ones we have presented for both last week and what's up there now. So this is, you know, I always say that, you know, a good photograph, I feel it. And so what I'm putting out there is something that is meaningful to me, and I expect people will have a reaction, a visual and emotional reaction to my photograph as well as to my NFT. I have to trust my eye and my vision. It's not like I'm putting out something to be, well, I've had a career of 40 years of producing photographs for the Geographic. And again, I have to trust my vision and eye so that to the point where, yes, I expect to that the viewer will see and feel what I'm feeling, and it's not some thought process. Gee, well, will this be liked by? You know, basically, it's my success over the years depends on my vision, and so I stand behind whatever I am producing out there. If I think it's good, I am feeling something from it, then I expect others to feel similarly. So that's the same thing. So that's the way I can put it. It's my vision, and yes, I am expecting people to be able to see what I'm seeing in that same frame. Hi, is anybody hearing that?
I was having trouble with my mute button. So yes, we were hearing, and I think it's definitely, as you've all kind of expressed, having a way to explain to people why this is, the most logical next step in your creations, and kind of bringing it to the different platforms in the metaverse, and kind of showing people, as you've said, Mike, not just the photograph, but the actual experience of what was happening when you took the photograph. Like, that is something that, prior to creating this and being able to share these NFTs, it hasn't really been done. And so that's interesting to see, and kind of, as we continue to move forward, I imagine that probably the difficulty explaining the projects to other people will lessen as we continue to gain more adoption over the next couple of years. So, it's really interesting being a pioneer in this space, and with all of the stories that you have to tell, all the photographs that you have in your archives, and kind of being able to bring those to light here is something that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Thank you. Well, it's not been quite so easy a process either. I just don't take a photograph that I like that is popular in something that I am very fond of myself, but someone asked me last night, well, how many NFTs have you tried before you came to this half dozen or so that made the cut? We in editing terms among photographers, we talk about all these thousands of frames we take and which one is the best, and therefore becomes the selective, as we say. And we must have tried about so I started thinking about that, and it's upwards of 200 that we attempted to make an interesting NFT out, often combining photographs that I'd taken, running horses in Inner Mongolia, where I would shoot bursts of these horses running, and so we put them into a form where we melded them all together, and hoping for some hybrid that would show the motion and give the feeling of 200 horses running by you, and that just didn't work out. And there were many other examples of this where we tried to take situations that were certainly made good still pictures, but just didn't make good NFTs. So it's been a long process of trial and error, and as we're getting to know some of these tools, hopefully there'll be a lot more hits than misses. But it's not been easy throughout the whole process for me to finally be able to prove something that I stand behind, and that's the point. Is it's my vision, and again, I need to stand behind it, and if I do, it's not like I'm, that is what you see is what you get. That's my vision, and I hope people will respond to that. That's what I do.
That is very, very exciting, and being able to share your vision. And as you mentioned, I think it's a really good point that not everything you try is going to be successful, and being able to recognize that early on and kind of iterate on the process and realize that if it's not working out, okay, we'll try the next one and take that as a learning experience. That's something that is valuable for people at any stage of, their artistic experience, because, from, I think, starting out, it feels kind of discouraging. We're like, oh, the thing isn't doing what I want it to do, but you have to understand that even, with, decades of experience won't always be the case. It won't always work out. So that is an amazing lesson, I think, to take away as well, whether you're in, a current, new space, or even, something that you've been doing for a while, and being able to move forward regardless. So
Yeah.
very,
Anyway,
very
that's where we're working toward, and we are in this for the long haul. I've already been talking about making. I have some photographs that I would like indeed to put some movement to, and some using some AI tools, and again with this idea in mind to take the viewer back to when I shot the photograph. And, I've got a big archive, maybe 1 million photographs, and I think, as I pointed out in, I can't remember which chat room, but the way this works is, doing a story for, say, a magazine where you have shot thousands of frames, hundreds of rolls, where you edit them down, and you have these. In the case of the Geographic, it's 100 selects, and that's all they want to see. And so you edit, and cull till you have this core set of photographs that becomes your story. And those are from the group that the editors choose for publication. And this is so. What happens to all the other roles? What happens with the other 1,000 rolls of film, say, or the 80,000 digital files that you shot for the story? Well, there's a lot of good stuff in there. And maybe they weren't chosen for, they were not exactly fit the subject, or were not the best for that particular, that particular story. So you just show those pictures, and then, what I've been doing now is culling through those photographs and finding all these gems, and photographs that maybe had no connection to the story, and they certainly have storytelling value for other things. And so that's what people, and of course the easy test for me is to put them out on Instagram, and get behind it. And I can again use have the people who are following that pretty much vote by liking or disliking the photograph. And so I have a sense of what has resonated with my audience. And anyway, so that's what I'm working with, and that file is infinite. I'm still piling through there on a. Well, I'm going to take a little break after this, but I have been working overtime, culling through photographs and putting them out, and working to make NFTs, and posting Instagram, and it's got me real busy to the point where I'm not missing the travel. I'm traveling to the archive, and that's the way it's been now for the last year and a half. So that's saying a lot for somebody who had a life of being home only 6 months a year, and editing pictures in a hurry, and then ready to go and going off of the next assignment. So that's become my life, and that's what I've been doing, and doing it with joy since, and also learning to live at home for an extended period of time, which has also been very good for me and my family. So
definitely. And I know we're near the end of the stream here, so I don't want to keep you all past the time that we've scheduled. But I guess just to make sure that if there's any last minute things you want to share, because we have little under 5.5 hours until your launch ends for this first drop. Any last words, Zoe and Michael, before we tell everybody to join the clubhouse later?
Well, I can just say that I'm very proud of these photographs, and I'm also quite happy that you and others have told me they haven't seen anything like this yet. So I'm doing something right just there. I don't want to be part of a crowd. I want to stand out, and if I'm doing something right, then we'll soon find out how it resonates with during this auction. But yeah, I'm quite proud of these NFTs and proud of the fact that they are unique and therefore very rare. So if nobody else has seen anything like it, that's a great thing for me.
Is a great thing indeed. I've shared the link to the tweet with the clubhouse invitation, and we'll get this closed up. But Zoe, it looks like you might have something to share.
I was on mute. Yeah, I was adding to what Mike said. I'm so grateful for this entire opportunity. So proud of the collection and the team, and to work with such a legendary photographer who's been paving the way in photography for decades, and being on the show. Thank you so much, Candy. What an awesome opportunity. I'm just stoked and excited to see what happens tonight, and yeah, happy.
I'm excited to see what happens tonight as well. I would encourage the whale community to take a peek at the clubhouse later, join in and follow along as this first NFT drop for the collection comes to a close. So we had a whole lot going on there, and I really appreciate having you all come by again to tell us how it's been going since the last time we chatted. Having Jack step in to help explain some of the things as well, that's been nice. So we will definitely keep an eye as this progresses and look forward to seeing what you all are doing again in the future.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you all.
Thank
With
you so
that, we
much.
will close this stream for now, and we will follow up with you here later this evening. Thank you, Whale Fam, for coming along.
Bye.
Oh, great.